y'all, I want to, as always, take a moment to just say thank you to you all who watch these videos. I love all of y'all. I love the people, especially who comment regularly on the videos, because every time I post a video, I look forward to your comments. Like, I know who comments regularly and I look forward to them. But I also appreciate the people who just stop by and comment once, or stop by and watch a video one time because it's, because they're watching a video for their country or for a country that they like. I appreciate y'all too. Hello everybody, it's Jordan Davis again. Thank you for clicking on this video and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're ready for this one, y'all. We have reached our final evening of our Eurovision 2009 reaction series / reaction series module in our larger series. And so, if you don't know what that is, this is just a night where I sit down, I have a drink, though it is not alcoholic for reasons. I have reasons. I'll be drinking in nights to come, but not tonight. But anyway, this is where we sit down and just talk over some of the Eurovision year that we've been reacting to for the past 3 weeks, which in this case has been Eurovision 2009. I have some thoughts about this year that are really interesting because this year seems different than the years previous to me. But I did want to start out by just kind of giving y'all some updates as to how far we've been and just a couple notable figures from this 3-week period, because I was like, you know what, let's check in, let's see how we've been doing. So since starting to react in the form of a series, so I did my 2020 reactions and I did reaction requests, but since I started my series on April 6th of this year, we have reacted to 110 songs over 4 years of Eurovision, y'all. That's a lot. And it's been over the span of 12 weeks. Can y'all believe it's been 12 weeks already? That's insane to me. But I love it because these years just keep flying by. And again, like I always say, this always gives me something consistent to do and look forward to while I've been choosing to stay inside. And I hope it's done the same for you. So our most viewed video from this part of the series, from the 2009 part of the series, has been Doom Tech Tech, Turkey, with just over 1,075 views at the time of recording this. So that is fantastic. And we have gained about 62 subscribers over the past 3 weeks. So that is really great, and welcome to all of you. If any of you are any of those 62 that have joined us over the past 3 weeks, welcome to you, and I'm so glad to have you with us. And if you are not one of those 62 and you are not somebody who subscribed before, i.e. you're somebody who hasn't subscribed, please consider doing so, because I'm really excited to start with Eurovision 2010 reactions, the top 10, next Monday. So let's go ahead and just briefly go over, once again, what the format of the rest of this video is going to look like. So first off, I am going to talk about my thoughts on 2009 overall. That's usually just a few minutes of me chit-chatting about some trends I saw in the year, or some things that stood out, or whatever, you know what I'm saying. So then I'm gonna go into giving my awards. So my awards, I always frame in terms of favorite and least favorite, because I always love to say, I always feel like I need to say, I recognize, I want to verbally recognize that all of these reactions are literally the definition of subjective, because they're my reactions. And so I want to frame this in terms of favorite and least favorite, because I recognize that the things I'm saying are likely very different for other people, or even if they're not, they could be different for other people. So I am in no way saying this is the best and this is the worst. Rather, I'm saying these are my favorites and these are my least favorites. And so the categories that we have this video, I'll just say this video. I was gonna say this week, but it's been 3 weeks, so no. The categories that we have for this video are favorite ethnic entry, as always, most surprising entry, staging, favorite staging, and then favorite vocals. Those are our favorites. And so our least favorites are least favorite vocals, least favorite styling, least favorite staging, and least favorite song overall. And then as always, we have our final category, which is songs to swap. So that is where I ask myself, okay, if I had to pick one song from the top 10 and one song from the bottom 10 to flip, to trade places, which songs would I pick? And so that's not to say that I really think that the top 10 songs should not be in the top 10 or that the bottom 10 songs should have been in the top 10, but it's to say if I had to choose two songs, which ones would I choose? And as always, timestamps will be in the description below if you don't have time to watch the whole video or you just want to look at certain awards or certain parts of the video. However, I do want to say that I would really love if you would watch the whole video or as much of it as you can watch, because I don't know, there's just something about the idea that, you know, I'm making this sitting down in the evening, and maybe you'll wait to watch it till the evening and you'll sit down with a drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, or maybe you'll sit down and eat, or, you know, whatever. And we can kind of have this community even though we're dislocated in time and space from one another. I like that idea. So I would love if you could watch as much of this video as possible, but if not, I put the timestamps in the description box so that it doesn't feel like I'm making it difficult to watch only parts if you only have time to watch parts. So, and I just want you to know about the format of this, that with the favorites and the least favorites and the songs to swap, I always try to make it so that songs only appear one time. So if I feel like a song has the best vocals and has the best staging and is the best ethnic entry, I'm not going to let it be the winner of all those categories, because that would just make for a kind of boring video. And there are usually a lot of songs that can fit into multiple categories like that. So I've tried to think through which category I think best represents that song and leave the other categories for other songs. So I try to only use each song that I have as a winner once. So how about we get into my overall thoughts for Eurovision 2009. So as I alluded to before, 2009 felt like not a strange year, but strange in the sense that it's different from the prior 3 years that I've reacted to, 2006, 2007, and 2008. So with those 3 years, I felt by probably the first or second week, a really strong tendency in a lot of the country's choices of songs that they were sending, right? 2006 was really pop heavy, 2007 was really rock heavy, and 2008 was really like joke entry heavy. But even in watching 2009 for the past 3 weeks, I haven't gotten a sense of like an overarching trend in that way. That being said, I think 2009 is definitely a contender for perhaps the strongest year that I have reacted to thus far, at least. So out of 06, 07, 08, or 09, overall, perhaps it might be the strongest year. This was really strong, especially the grand final. The songs in the grand final, I think each and every one of them that I reacted to was quite a strong song. There are a couple that were, you know, less strong or more strong, but especially those in the grand final, especially those above like 20th. No, I can't even say that, because Sweden came in 21st and Spain came in 24th. Yeah, really the whole grand final, I think, had a lot of strong songs in a way that we may not have seen thus far. So that was really interesting to see. And it got me thinking that maybe the only overarching theme of this year is the strength of the year. Like maybe that is the theme. But that being said, I do have to say, I think the bottom 10 from this year was a lot more, it had more weaker songs than the previous bottom 10s did, in my opinion. Or it either had more weaker songs, or the songs that were weak were very weak. And so, and we'll kind of get to some of those on my least favorites list. I always hate to do it, but you know, it's honest. It's honest because not everything is our favorite. It doesn't mean we can't like it and we can't listen to it still, but it's not everything is our favorite, and some things are our least favorite. So, you know, and I want to hear if you had a least favorite or favorite in any of these or any of your own categories in the comments. So let me know. But anyway, I think the bottom 10 was a little bit weaker than in previous years. But that being said, there were some really good gems in the bottom 10 that I didn't think should have been in the bottom 10. And we'll definitely point those out as we see them in our songs to swap and then a little bit in a different category, but I'll save that for later. So those were my general thoughts about 2009 overall. Again, there were only a few thoughts because there really wasn't an overarching trend. It was more just kind of what it was. There was a really diverse array of songs that were really very strong. So let's go ahead and get into our awards, shall we? So, like I said, my first award, let's start with the favorites category. So my first award is favorite ethnic entry. This is always one of my favorite categories to give an award for, because as somebody who lives in the United States, the ethnic entries in Eurovision are really the ones that are the least familiar to me as far as my own, the music that I've grown up with, but I've grown to love them from Eurovision, and so I'm always looking for a great ethnic entry. But actually, before I get into that, I did want to give a shout out to a song that I did not have a place to give it an award for, because I couldn't think of a category, and I didn't want to think of a category just for one song, because I was like, that's kind of cheating. But I wanted to give a shout out to this song because this song has been my favorite from 2009 for a while now. And that song is Estonia. So this song is just, I love this song. This was, I think, the first song I ever heard from 2009. And it's really the reason that I was so excited to explore 2009 further when we started this reaction series 3 weeks ago. Because Estonia's song is just so high level, top notch. It's one of Estonia's best entries ever, especially best entries of the last decade and a half. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to that song, even though I didn't have an award to give it necessarily. So let's go ahead and get into our favorite ethnic entry though, like I first mentioned. So my favorite ethnic entry was from a country that I reacted to late, as in like last night. So if you don't already know, my favorite ethnic entry for Eurovision 2009 was Moldova by the country of Moldova. Y'all, I think I was just so taken by surprise with this one. I had no idea what the song might be about, but from the opening second of the song, literally the opening second, the first time her mouth opened, those ethnic vocalizations just captured me in a way that like ethnic vocalizations always do. You know that I love those if you've watched really any of my reaction videos. I love an ethnic vocalization, and I think this was just like so richly ethnic. Every element of the performance was infused with that ethnic energy, from the vocals to the dancing, which I loved. Again, I feel like the dancing was a lot like Norway's dancing, which elevates these types of performances from really good to like wow. And so to the ethnic symbols in the background, the ethnic patterns in the background, to the colors, to the outfits, to everything about this was infused with this ethnic energy, this rich ethnic energy that I loved. So I just had to put Moldova as my winner for favorite ethnic entry at Eurovision 2009. So What about my most surprising entry? So most surprising entry is always a fun category to think about because it gives me the freedom to kind of think about most surprising in a variety of ways. Sometimes it's been a joke entry, sometimes it's been an entry that surprises me by its quality, and in this case, it's the latter. It's an entry that has surprised me because of its quality and because of the poor position that it came to. So, the winner for most surprising entry from Eurovision 2009 for me is Slovakia with the song Let's Move. So something about this, for as low as this was, I think it was 38th place out of 42. I was expecting this to be like trash. I'm like, if it's 38th place, it cannot be good. But when they started singing, I was like, wait, something's not adding up here. They sound good. The staging is good. It's painting a picture. And when the gentlemen came in and they started doing their back and forth thing, it just didn't add up to me why this was so poorly placed. And so I think that's why it was most surprising for me, was because I was really expecting this to be so good, or so bad, I'm sorry, because of the position. But as I always say, you can't assume that just because a song is in the bottom 10, it's a bad song. And I've had to teach myself that, thinking about Eurovision. I've assumed that much less lately, but when I was first starting, it's like, oh, the song is in the bottom 10, it must not be good, and that can really close you off to some good entries like this one, or like another one, which will appear later, perhaps in my song to swap. So, and I bet you can guess which one that is. And so I was really just shocked by how good this was. The vocals were great, especially her vocals, but his vocals as well. They were a good match for one another. I felt like they had nice chemistry. And again, I love the setting that felt like castle-esque, felt candles, kind of like a Beauty and the Beast type thing. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. And so for that reason, Slovakia took my most surprising entry for Eurovision 2009. Moving on to my third favorite category. My third favorites category is favorite staging. And so, who do we think could have had my favorite staging from Eurovision 2009? Well, the entry that had my favorite staging was another entry that I reacted to recently, very recently, maybe last night. You have to know what it is. If you watch the video, you know what it is. And that entry is... My God and prejudice, I will just reminisce. These are the things we can't miss. Come on, give me a kiss. There's nothing dangerous. I know the fate, not us. We'll keep each other restless. Oh, but we will be rest. Be My Valentine, Anti-Crisis Girl by Svetlana, by our girl Svetlana from Ukraine. Y'all, one of y'all told me that she took out a second mortgage on her home to fund this staging. Now, if that's the case, look, then she definitely deserves this, because just like with Moldova, with the ethnic vocals, with this, from the first moment the lights went up on the stage, I was captivated because there was so much going on stage-wise, but it all worked for me. It didn't feel overloaded to me. She, I think I can pretty solidly say, outperformed everyone at Eurovision 2009. Outperformed, I'll say, any of the main singers, because those dancers from Moldova and those dancers from Norway, they performed their asses off. So I don't want to take away from them, but as far as main artist goes, I think she by far outperformed anybody else from Eurovision 2009. And so whether it was her dancing, which was great, and I loved how involved she was choreographically in the song, or whether it was her singing, which was still good, and I actually love the timbre of her voice. I definitely understand that there's not one voice type in Ukraine, but I do love that there are a lot of Ukrainian women with huskier voices that can border on like gritty, but not always. Like they can choose when it's gritty and when it's not. But like, I mean, Lorak has that kind of a voice. Even, oh shit, I'm forgetting right now. I can never think of things when I'm on camera. Yeah. There are a lot of Ukrainian women that really know how to use their voice, and there are a lot of them that have a huskier tone of voice, and I really like that. But again, that's not to say that because they're Ukrainian, they have a huskier voice, because that's not how biology works. But, you know, I really like it. I like the sound of her voice. And so really with all of that, with the staging, with the, I don't know if it's gears or portals or whatever it was, but those that had the wheel on the inside of it, and she was turning around on that thing, and then you had those two silver figures on the sides and those pulsing, like looking like subwoofer things on the floor, and then the drum set. Like the staging was great. It was great, and it was a lot. And so for that reason, I have to give my favorite staging to Ukraine. Oh, and she looks great anyway. I mean, styling is not part of staging in this list, but she looks great anyway, and I have to mention that. And so moving on to my final favorites category. So my final favorites category is perhaps always my favorite category to think of, because y'all know I sing, and so I like listening for vocals. And so my final favorites category is favorite vocals. So my favorite vocals from Eurovision 2009 was a country that I mentioned has grown to more recently begin following a formula that I'm not too happy with, but like pre-2015, I liked the diversity of entries they sent, and I think pre-2015, they definitely lived up to a lot of the hype that they received. And if you haven't been able to guess already, that country is Sweden. So, my favorite vocal is Sweden with the song La Voix, Mamalena. The vocal acrobatics in this song, the shift in register, she goes from the deepest of chest voice all the way to like an operatic head voice within the span of like a second or two in the bridge. Like, it's crazy. And I know I talked with some of y'all in the comments about the verses did sound a little like weakish as far as like the strength of her voice goes, but I kind of think like that was a choice, like a stylistic choice, not an accident. Because judging off of the rest of her vocals and her vocal prowess overall, it seems like there's no way it could have been an accident. I think it had to have been a choice to have a really soft, like frail vocal, a quiet vocal in the verses, and then just expand outward in that kind of lilting, operatic chorus that y'all know I love, how she just kind of floats over the beat with her vocals. I love that so much. And for this reason, I had to give my favorite vocal to Sweden for Eurovision 2009. So, let's move on to our least favorites categories. And before we get into this, I just want to preface again, because I want y'all to know that I really take this seriously, and I don't want to convey a message that I think is untrue. So, untrue to me. So I want y'all to know that just because a song is in my least favorites, it doesn't mean that I dislike the song. And it doesn't mean that I dislike the country, absolutely not. Because I don't associate one entry with the whole country. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say, oh, I don't like Bulgaria because I didn't like Bulgaria's song. You know what I mean? That's stupid to me. This is just about this particular entry and its relationship to the rest of the entries I reacted to. It's not saying anything about the entry overall, because a lot of these songs on these least favorite categories, I still listen to. So, just wanted to let you know that. So in my mind, you're probably gonna be able to guess at least a couple of these least favorite winners. Just if you watched my 2009 reactions, that is. If you haven't, I encourage you to watch it from the playlist that I linked to earlier. And if I didn't link to it earlier, I'll link to it now. But anyway, I think you'll probably be able to guess. So my least favorite vocal, because that's my first category, least favorite vocal. My least favorite vocal from Eurovision 2009 was a country that just kind of felt like they gave their artists like sheet music, or no, they gave their artists a sheet of lyrics, just a paper with words on it, and just kind of said, okay, sing it, just do it. And then they just went with whatever they sang. So this is one of the ones I think you could probably guess. So my least favorite vocal from Eurovision 2009 was... Bulgaria, with the song Illusion. So I think like we know what happened there. Now that isn't to say, I think there was one lady in the pink, I think she's wearing pink, and she had a short part where she did ethnic vocals herself, like a little solo. That was good. That was good. So good for her. But the rest, the rest, my friends, was just a little... Actually, I can't even say it was underwhelming, because it was overwhelming, but not in a good way. You know what I mean? It was overwhelming, but not in a great way. Just because, again, the vocals did not like mesh with one another. It just seemed like a lot of just loud doing your own thing with like 4 people on stage. And it just didn't coalesce into a performance that I would want to watch again live. Now, maybe the studio track, I still have not looked up the studio version just because I've been very busy, but I'm gonna look up the studio version because maybe that will be better. And maybe that'll be something I'll download. But the live performance, the vocals did not cut it for little old me. So, moving on to our second least favorite category, which is our least favorite, styling. So originally I had a different country for this, but then I had to rethink things. So my least favorite styling for Eurovision 2009 was... Love will make us glow in the dark, so open up your heart. Are you ready for a brand new start? The Netherlands, with the song Shine. Now, the styling wasn't grotesque in this song. It wasn't. I just think, in thinking back about it, because I didn't think this in the original watch, but thinking back, it seems really like gimmicky. And I don't love like a shiny suit. Like I love it for like the shock value, but like as styling, I'm like, okay, I feel like we could have been a little bit more creative than this. Like, than a rhinestone suit, you know what I mean? And so for that reason, thinking back on it, Shine was my least favorite styling. Plus like the old person with the DJ booth belt thing, that was a little crazy too. And yeah, styling wise, this just like really didn't do it for me. And like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. So basically, it wasn't horrible styling, but it was like bad enough and gimmicky enough that it just turns me kind of off from wanting to like watch the performance again. So for that reason, the Netherlands, and y'all, I love you. I know you come back and y'all do better. So, and I know you told me, you know, you had a little down period, but you come back. So I'm really excited to continue watching the Netherlands, but this year the styling just wasn't it for me. And what about my least favorite staging? Well, this is the country I originally had for least favorite styling. But in my mind, the styling for this country would have worked if the staging was better and it didn't feel so empty and weird. So the winner for my least favorite staging at Eurovision 2009 was... My way, take a chance with me, make my body sway. It's an overload in a disco fantasy. The country of Hungary with the song Dance With Me. I think the stage just felt too empty for this song to ever have to ever have a chance at doing well. It did not work for me, and I'm actually surprised that this song was like so high up, because like I get the atmosphere they were trying to foster, but at the same time, and I said this in my reaction video, excuse me, it felt like a little, I think one of you said it felt a little on the nose, a little forced, a little like shove it down your throat, like this is fun, we're having a party, like that kind of a thing. And so for that reason, the staging just didn't work. And as a result of that, the styling didn't work for me. The stage just felt empty because it was just him and the three dancers. I can't even remember what the rest of the staging was. It was probably just some colors, but like, yeah, it just didn't work for me. It didn't feel, like when you do a party song, you want it to feel like there's a party on stage. And this felt like kind of a sad party where just you and three of your friends are dancing around a room that's too big for you and three of your friends. You know what I mean? So for that reason, my least favorite staging has to go to the country of Hungary. And onto my final least favorite category. So that's my least favorite song overall. Now, again, if you've watched my 2009 reactions, I have a feeling that you might be able to guess which song this is. So my least favorite song overall from Eurovision 2009 is the country of Belgium with the song Copycat. Now listen, Belgium, you know I love y'all. I even love Hooverphonic song from this year. I liked it when I reacted to it, but it's actually been growing on me a lot, and lyrically, it does some really special things. I like the lyrical content of that song. But this song from 2009 was not the business. It felt like it just was not good at all to me. Like, I think the music was the saving grace as to why this was not 42nd place instead of 41st place. Because the music was okay, it was catchy, there was a theme with the music. But the whole Elvis knockoff from a guy who really does not even look like Elvis at all, I was not there for that. I'm like, we could have done something different than that. It was like, it felt like it wanted to be a joke entry, but a joke entry that wasn't even done well. And it felt like a knockoff of the Las Vegas version of the real thing. You know what, like a knockoff of the knockoff. You know what I'm saying? And so that just was not the business for me. But like I said, we all have our off years. I always say we all have our off years. And so I'm not holding this against y'all. I cannot wait to see what y'all continue to send as we go further and further in our reactions. But for that reason, the song Copycat by Copycat has to be my least favorite song overall from Eurovision 2009. And so we have reached our final category. Y'all, I think I've realized that I talk a lot more succinctly when I don't have alcohol in my system. That may seem like a no-brainer, but like, I feel like the flow of filming this has gone a lot smoother than it usually does when I have the wine or the vodka. So, but that's not to say that I'm not gonna have wine or vodka next time, because I love a good drink when I'm talking with y'all. But, you know, I'm just saying it has felt a lot smoother. But anyway, so my last category is songs to swap. So again, let me just remind you, songs to swap is when we think about if I had to choose one song from the top 10 and one song from the bottom 10 to flip places, which songs would I choose? And again, this doesn't mean necessarily that independently of this category, I think the top 10 songs should not be in the top 10, or that I think the bottom 10 songs should be in the top 10. But this is just like one of those, if you had to choose, could not back out of it, which songs would you choose? And so let's start with the song from the bottom 10 that I would move to the top 10. So the song from the bottom 10 that I would choose to move to the top 10 is a song that I really enjoyed. I downloaded this song the day that I reacted to it because I really liked it that much. I love the energy of the song, I love the vocals and the performance, and I loved the styling. And I just really liked the song as a whole package. And so that song is La Teva Decisio by the country of Andorra. Like I said, I really enjoyed this song. And this song, I think, well, it's in my song to swap. So this was clearly the song in the bottom 10 that I felt least deserved to be in the bottom 10. And so for that reason, that would be the song that I would switch, because this song had a lot of merit to it. It was a good song, it had good staging, it had good energy, which is also important. Energy, you know, as something that when you listen to a song, you can't put your finger on it, but it makes you feel, and this song made me feel good, and I liked that. But what song would I switch out of the top 10? Now, I know y'all about to be mad at me for this one, but listen, like I said, this is if I had to choose, and I can justify this to the best of my ability. But the song that I would switch out of the top 10 would be... Now listen, Greek friends, before y'all crucify me for this, because I understand, you might listen, but remember, I really like this song, and none of these categories, they're for fun. They're indicators, but none of them are indicators of me disliking a song or disliking an artist or disliking a performance. So this, I just think out of all of the top 10 songs, I think this was the least impressive, like vocally speaking, and that's kind of why I chose it, because the rest of the top 10 at least had a good vocal performance or a unique vocal performance. And this one was just more of like a traditional popish song with this really charismatic artist. Let me not get that twisted. He was really charismatic and I loved watching that. But I think if there was anything lacking from a top 10 entry from this year, this song was lacking a little bit of the vocal prowess that some of the other, well, all of the other top 10 entries had. That's not to say that I don't believe that, isn't his name Sakis, that I don't believe that he has that vocal power, but I just think the song itself didn't ask for that, and for that reason, this is the song that I chose to switch out of the top 10, if I had to. But again, I love the song. I have watched that performance over and over because it gives me energy. I feel like, speaking of energy, it transfers energy to me. So those are my songs to swap. And y'all, we have made it through another year. I swear to God, every time I film one of these videos, I think like, okay, it's gonna be another 3 weeks until the next one, and then 3 weeks goes by and it's like, shit, that was fast. Y'all, I want to, as always, take a moment to just say thank you to you all who watch these videos. I love all of y'all. I love the people, especially who comment regularly on the videos, because every time I post a video, I look forward to your comments. Like, I know who comments regularly and I look forward to them. But I also appreciate the people who just stop by and comment once, or stop by and watch a video one time because it's, you know, because they're watching a video for their country or for a country that they like. I appreciate y'all too. And I appreciate all of you who are subscribed and who will continue to come with me and watch Eurovision develop alongside me as we continue. I can't wait to start 2010 next week. But again, I also appreciate those who are not subscribed and who just stop by for a video. But I would encourage y'all to subscribe if you want to continue with us on this reaction journey. So, thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you'll like this video, and I hope you'll comment below and tell me some of your thoughts on 2009 as a year. And as always, I'll see you next time on Monday for Eurovision 2010.